I think I got it. All right, hey, this is Brendan Allen from Comic-Con. We're doing the live wrap-up show from 2025 Las Vegas Diecast SuperCon. On my left, Mr. Steve Johnston, One of Us Comics, Who the F is Frank. On the right over here, we got Brett Lawson. He's from, what's the name of that show?
Go Live Vegas, student of the game and the Game Day Huddle with this man
correct,
over here,
yes.
Steve Johnston, our boy Jimmy Garino.
And I don't know, I'm so sorry, you just said your name a moment ago, but I have trouble with names. But on the end over there, we've got somebody in a hat.
Real quick, before we do that, let's explain to everyone so they know. My man has hit his head twice on the exact same spot at this facility
In
the last 2
5
days.
hours, yeah. It's
So if he does something like that, we just chalk it up to a little brain injury, nothing bad. No CTE, hopefully.
Right.
But
Minor trauma, maybe.
I'll introduce him for you. Kevin
banged my
Rivera
head
with the
a lot.
#1 convention diecast channel on YouTube. Kevin, how the heck are you?
Oh man, I'm doing so good. I've been having a blast these last couple days. It's almost like a blur now, right? Like, you know, everything blurs together when you're just running from event to event and talking to people and looking at cars, but it's a blur in a good way, you know?
Do you
guys
feel the same
that?
way, Brendan?
You know, it's really interesting because there's so much information that I've taken over the last couple of days about scale size and the different materials and some of the processes of opening doors and whatever and all the problems that come up and how they get solved. And like, I have learned so much over the past 2 days. It's ridiculous. I learned all about NFTs. I had no idea until I was up there in the Neverland booth.
Neverland. We
Neverland.
determined this yesterday. Neverland.
You're not Elvis. It's not Neverland. But up in the Neverland booth, like listening to them to talk and explain the things, I'm like, oh, I had no idea. And I'm just so glad that I'm here. It's been a lot of fun, but it has also been an education in many, many ways.
Now, see, for me, I've been here for what, 4 days now, right? Because we show up, and for us, it's like you show up, you got to set the show floor, work with the Ahern staff, which, by the way, is incredible, right? Working with them.
The Ahern staff got me this chair.
They did get you that chair. By the way, we did cover the chair yesterday. This is today's wrap show, not yesterday's, okay? I know you've hit your head a few times.
Circling back.
But no, and so I've been here for 4 days, right? You arrived on Wednesday and went on the VIP tour.
Yes, sir.
So you've been here for 3 days.
Yeah.
You, sir, came yesterday. You've been here for 2 days.
That's right.
And you, sir, decided that you wanted to finally show
The
up
debut.
and be here for 1 day.
Hard launch.
But the funny thing is, though, is what's so cool to me is that I was really coming in blind because I had never been a part of this before, and I had heard about it in years past from you, from other people at Go Live Vegas. Brandon has discussed it when joining our show, as he sporadically does. And I've always imagined what it would look like in the space at the Ahern Hotel. So if anything, just being on the ground, visualizing it, or finally getting to put it to what my best speculation was, that's pretty cool in its own right, because you never really know the layout until you get there, and now you got to just see it unfold, and it's kind of a lot to take in, but in a good way.
Well, and especially when you think about how this building is built, right?
Right.
Because it's a giant octagon, right? You've got an octagon influencer stage in the middle of it. We're on the main
Stage. There's a House of Cards signing stage where the Dukes of Hazzard will be signing tomorrow, right? And we have all of that stuff going on. And so it's a unique setup. It is definitely different. It's not a venue that you just look at and you go, oh, this is easy. Okay, it's a square room. We could do, like, it doesn't work that way. But that's the fun part of the challenge here,
Right.
is creating that atmospheric, atmosphere you go to. And I think this is a great part to start with you, Kevin. This is probably the most unique show floor you've been on, right?
Oh, of course. I mean, this is fantastic. And what you mentioned on the octagon shape, it's like, it's amazing that, you know, it's not laid out just in straight rows. Like, it makes it more like an adventure when you're navigating the convention.
That's the biggest thing I've noticed, because I've worked on conventions with Steve at, typical convention centers, and those layouts are great. The space is huge, but when you walk through it, it's kind of exactly like what you said, Kevin. It's more like a grid you set up with the vendors, with the celebrities, the signings, the stages. Here, though, it's almost like a bit of a maze, not in the sense that there's no direction. There is a direction, because, again, we're kind of constantly working around, but there's so much you see in the nooks and crannies that initially you may not catch with your eye. So doing a second and third go around, that's like really where you make the discoveries of what really is, going to unfold here.
Well, and I've been to a lot of conventions. I've done San Diego, I've done Denver.
Really?
I've done New York. I've been all over the place. And the thing is that they all very much have this grid. And all artist alleys look the same. They're all in rows, back to back. They've got 8 foot wide
Right.
rows in between. And to see something like this where you have used the corners and different places to strategically put people where they're going to get traffic, and it's interesting to me what the actual high traffic areas are, because it's not what you think. It's not dead center. It's not right by the front door. It's like to the left of the elevator on the second floor. It's interesting. It's fresh, and I like that there are so many different looks. Like you can be on the second floor looking down, and you can see all kinds of stuff happening below.
Bird's
or you
eye.
can look across. You can see the entire second floor from any vantage point on the second floor.
What's cool about that is nobody's experience is the same, and no day is the same here because of that. Because you get different vendors. Some come in on different days, and yeah, again, just with the layout, the different vendors coming in, everybody gets to have a different experience, but overall, the overall feel is just energetic and fun.
No, and it's exciting to hear that, right? Like Brett's experience coming in, as a first-time attendee. You've had experience of seeing the show, seeing
In the past, the stuff that's been out there, the content that's been covered from like
our friends at Diecast Breakdown and some of these other channels. And then Brendan, your experience, obviously, and I joked about it, but how in-depth in the comic culture and comic and toy show, world that you've been in and attended and done, and wrestling of shows and all of these things. Each one of these shows always has their own independent elements, the things that are the most important, whatever it is. You mentioned which I think is great. You mentioned the, artist alleys, right? Well, for a show like this, we don't have an artist alley. We have a ton of vendors that are artistic, but on top of it, we have the designers from the different manufacturer teams. And we just finished an event that was in the showroom where all the designers get together, and as I'm talking to Louis Tanahara from Cartoon, he's telling me, what I love about this is the fact that this is like getting all the good old boys back together. It's a chance for us to all get a chance to see each other. They're not even talking about the attendee. They're talking about the other designers that are there. And that culture is carried over to this, and I'm sure that's showing to you this weekend, right?
Oh, of course, it's fantastic to see. I'm loving it.
What's some of your favorite things that you've seen so far, since you have a lot more experience on the floor than Brett does over here?
So one of the biggest
Not saying
things,
much though.
one of the biggest things I love about this specific event is the whole entire hotel is dedicated to the event. I mean, I've been to diecast conventions around the country, but this one, the whole hotel is, it's just for the event. In-room trading, multiple levels, again, unique layout, that type of stuff. It makes for an unconventional convention in the best and funnest way possible.
And
I mean,
Kevin, would you say
not just the building itself, but how does that energy, how does that aura, I guess you could say, carry over to the fact that it's in Las Vegas? How much does that help just being on the ground out here compared to maybe another metropolitan
just
area?
right around the place, right? You got good food to eat. You're in and out. There's music going. There's everywhere you look, there's people smiling, laughing, trading cars, and it's hard to describe unless you're here experiencing it. I do my best on the YouTube channel when I put it out there to give the viewers a feel of what it's like. I try to capture the fun, but it's still not the same. There's no substitute for being present in the convention.
No doubt.
Well, and it's funny, Brendan, because you and I come from a world where the events that happen are like trade nights, right? That's the thing that happens in our culture. And I remember talking to you specifically, and you're like, I can't wait to see how this in-room trading works. And now you go, and the way in-room trading works, if you're viewing right now and you're not sure, you've never been to a diecast show like this, you haven't been to some of the other events that are produced out there that do this, the in-room trading is another retail aspect to the entire show. So you may have 200 vendors in a space or 400 vendors in a space. And then in this case, you've got 200 plus hotel rooms in the back that all have diecast set up as small little activations independently that you go across the floor and shop.
So I've never seen that before, and that kind of tripped me out because, I've seen that Bob's Burger episode with the equestronauts, right, where they're tattooing them, and they're doing the trading in the room or whatever, and I'm like, wow, that's interesting, but I had never experienced it. I didn't know it was a real thing until you started telling me about this event, and that is something that's unique to the diecast community, that when you guys put these things on, you kind of, and I love that there's a contest, because I remember going to camp when I was a kid, and we would have a contest for the best decorated cabin, right? And that's what it feels like, is Johnny's going to go around and he's going to give a prize to the best decorated cabin, as we're having this summer camp experience in the Diecast Hotel. It's bonkers. And then I've been into a couple of the rooms, and I'm sitting there looking. I'm like, did they get 2 rooms? Where are these people sleeping? There's no luggage in here. It's just full of product.
No, and you have people that do that where they book a room. Kevin's over here nodding his head. He's like, yeah, I asked for an adjoining room, and you
Guilty.
should see what's set up in my retail side. In fact, we had a gentleman last year that he removed all the furniture. He had 2 rooms. He removed all the furniture from one to the other, but then when he left, he got himself on a no-fly list because he didn't put the furniture back.
So the agent comes in. They come into one room, right?
They come into the one room, they open it, and they're like, where did our furniture go?
Oh, my
But then they go and check the other room, and they come to find out. Like, he wasn't being disrespectful with it. I understand what his plan was there. He just didn't finish the job. You know what I'm saying?
always be closing.
If something happens like that, you got to mention it, though. You can't just leave it.
No.
Because if you're cool, sometimes they'll just be like, okay, I get it. But if they just walk in, they're like, okay, this is a prank. He's screwing with us.
Oh, I'm sure he got his credit card hit.
You know, it's crazy the different experiences you can have. One comment somebody put out on one of my convention videos, they were like, you know, for the cost of a plane flight, if you're from out of town, convention ticket, you know, whatever else, he's like, I could buy the same stuff at home sitting in my underwear in front of the computer. But you know what? You do not get the same experience if you're doing that. Like,
But I also disagree with that, though, because
me too.
You can't get the same stuff because there are things here that are one of one. There are things here that are 240 pieces just for this show. And if they do have some left over at the end of the show, I'm sure they're going to go online. And when they go online, they're going to go up at a markup. So you're not going to get it at the same price, and you're not going to get those exclusives.
Well, and that's something that's happened significantly different with us, right? So Diecast SuperCon for a long time has had a ton of exclusives, manufacturer exclusives, support, and Code 3. And just to explain what Code 3 is custom cars, but made at a replicated level in a little higher volume, right? And those vehicles are out here and they're part of this. But now we have manufacturers like our friends at Jada who had an exclusive drop that's been presented as a show exclusive. That's a collaboration with Majorette, right? We had Ixo America releasing their very first diecast at this show, 264 pieces with them. Then they take the stage yesterday, and right after they come off, their friends from Neverland come on and announce that they had
Neverland.
a hidden exclusive that was a collab between Ixo and themselves. And then I get to come back on and say, but wait, there's more, because our House of Cars brand, the retail stores that are not here, although we have a ton of ownerships attending, have an exclusive version of that car that drops on March 1st. And then you keep going. There is the exclusive dinner car, and then all of a sudden, Cartooned has been dropping chase versions of that dinner car for activations that you can't go on, sir, and buy anywhere because you can only win those. That's the only way they're letting those get out there. So when you start having this type of activations happening from the manufacturer side, producing these items that are exclusive, that's where that answer to that comment, that's the real answer. No, you can't.
It's true. And another thing I wanted to mention about this is, aside from the exclusives and the sneak peeks, right?
Aside
don't
from everything
get the
that makes
same-
this cool.
you don't get the same community feel. You can't. I mean, I've made new friends just in the last few. Every convention I go to, I'm meeting new people.
Wait, we're
making new
friends?
I thought we were friends.
And that's what wanted to ask Brendan about, because so much of my relationship with him, Steve, when he joins the show and just picking his brain in that capacity, and now seeing him on the ground, talking about some of the stuff we talked about on our podcast, but also learning new things about him. How important is that to someone like you who may spend not a full-time, not be in Vegas on a full-time basis, but is familiar enough with Vegas to kind of immerse yourself? How's that been for you?
Well, one of the things that I have to do, because I get anxiety, I have some issues with being in big crowds and stuff like that. So one of the things that I have to do is I have to learn where my friends are on the floor. And so the first thing I do at a comics convention is find my friends in Artist Alley, and I find my manufacturer friends or publishers. I'm thinking manufacturers because I'm here, publishers in my world. But the publishers that I'm friendly with that have back rooms that I can go and sit and drink some water, maybe have a little snack or something like that. And it's really important that there are people that I know here from other things that I've done
Right.
that I don't know in this context. And seeing them in this context is interesting, but I also know that I've got my little places to go and hang out or sit down or grab some water or whatever here here because of those relationships that I built while I'm here, but also ones that come from other spaces that I've been in.
And is that why, Steve, you think that this version, right, this installment, right, the 2025 Super Convention compared to past Diecast events,
Do you think why that's kind of a turning point? Because now that community is starting to really come into the forefront?
Well, no, I'm going to be honest with you. I think community is how it started.
Right? When you go back 16 years ago and you go to the first Diecast Space Convention that this ultimately became, like, it was a handful of guys getting together as a community and having fun and enjoying it, hanging around in their rooms, doing a few things, having a few dinner, events and whatever it was, calling it a wrap. But what I can tell you that's happened in the last 3 years is that with our partnership with the Ahern, coming into this facility, the capabilities that we have with the in-room trading, to be able to offer an experience that is all-inclusive. You can come to this property, land, be here all weekend, not ever have to leave, and you will have had something to do every day. This is a physical cruise ship. That's what it is.
24-hour trading. 24-hour trading. One thing that, I mean, it's always going.
On that line of thinking, I do have one suggestion. That at some future iteration of this, you need to have a gut truck yard where there's a taco truck and a Korean barbecue and whatever that's all out there, because I have been starving all day.
But what you
Until
haven't
Paul
done,
Vato showed up with my
working
tacos
note.
6 hours after he said he was going to, but he came, and I got my 4 pounds of tacos.
and that was a great shot at Paul Vato. Well done on taking the shot at our co-host of Who the Fuck is Frank. Well done. That's great placement by you. But he actually is lying to you folks at home, so you know, because we have an incredible eatery that's right off the show floor that you could have went to at any point.
They don't sell tacos.
I get it, and I understand that tacos is a component that's important to you. By the way, the taco truck and the Tacoma, that's a real thing. People taco Tacomas. They do. There's a taco Hot Wheel, and they will go to people's Tacomas, and they will put the taco
So
Hot
there is a
Wheel
connection
on their
after all.
Tacoma
Listen,
and
I'm saying,
taco the Tacoma.
I'm saying
So
we've got 7 floors of parking garage. You're taking up 2 floors with cars for the car show. One part of that floor could have a taco truck, a Korean barbecue, and hot dogs.
okay, so here's what
jotting
we'll
that
do.
down, anybody?
Now, here's how we do it. Here's how we do this. We take Shane McFarland, the president of the hotel. You sit down with him, and I want Go Live Vegas to record
I want
The exclusive
this pitch
interview.
by you.
Tacos.
This could, because if
I
you
want
pitch this,
bulgogi, and I want Colby.
hold on, real quick. I'm gonna be honest right here, okay? I always say that I can walk into any room and I feel like I'm the best salesperson in it. If you close this deal, I will give you that crown. You can have it.
Nice.
He's speechless. I love it.
I
That's
like-
great.
Brandon-
Tacos in the future. Chef Joel, we need tacos, okay? That's what he's asking for.
He could
Not
do-
another provider. Chef Joel, he wants your tacos to come from the steakhouse. And if you need to chop up one of those, big old
Have you
T-bones.
seen the
or-
dry-aged beef locker that's
Oh,
up
good
there?
That
Lord.
was nice. That's Vegas for you, though. That's like the chef's kiss. Vegas will never
Fail to remind you that it's still a joint in Vegas, an establishment in Vegas. But Brent, I was thinking you could do like a little bit of like the reverse Roddy Piper there. Like I'm here to basically trade and eat tacos, and I'm just about done trading.
So that's where he's at by
Man,
now.
I'm back. If we're going to be doing food trucks and stuff, I guess 24-hour food trucks too, right? Because I haven't slept a lot the last couple days because I've been out running,
But
guys.
let me ask you guys this: in terms of like a full day, and obviously it's going to change a little bit
On the day-by-day basis, but here we are, pretty much at the halfway point of the whole thing.
Right.
What's the most important thing to you guys, both Brandon and Kevin, in terms of getting the day started? Like obviously you're going to be busy with other things that pertain to you and Diecast and
everything and what you're out here for. But what's the best way to get the ball rolling on an individual day here at the
So
Super
for
Convention?
me, right, a big focus is creating the content about the Diecast convention itself. I want people, the viewers, when they see the channel, to get a feel of what it's like to walk in and be an attendee here, right? As close as they can without actually being here. So I'm thinking, how do I highlight the funnest aspects of this convention, right? So I start right from when you pull in and you're looking at the cars that are amazingly parked right up front, right? And the check-in process and the car exclusives and how it's coming together. I focus on these things that are fun that people go, wow, I actually wish I was there. Right? And I know if you're watching at home, like, you should have been here if you could have been.
Well, see, and mine, it's pretty simple. It starts with a shower. That's the answer.
Snoozing the alarm.
Yeah, that's always a good start. Glass of water, do some push-ups.
For Brendan, some tacos.
I wish there were
Fuel up.
tacos within 5 miles of here, but there are not. No.
There is. There is within 5 miles of here.
Is there a place in Vegas, like a radius in Vegas, that doesn't have tacos within
Listen,
5 miles?
there's
I'm
a
actually curious. Yeah.
Stupid expensive steakhouse next door, and then there's a sandwich
Golden
place next to
Steer.
that wants to sell $26 submarines. In my life, I have never paid $26 for a sandwich.
I absolutely love how he just, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing with him, I absolutely love how he just called a Vegas staple that Sinatra and Dean Martin ate at, just the stupid steakhouse.
Across the street. No, it's expensive. That's the
Important, yeah.
Stupid expensive.
indicator.
That's
He's like, you know how
that's a
many
lot of
cars I could buy for that steak? Like,
Oh, that's funny.
So,
No, it's very true, though.
Well, you
not
know, one of
wrong.
the things actually that I'm going to say is that, you know, getting ready for the show, it's a lot easier here than it is at some of the other conventions that I go to because what happens there is I've flown in, I don't have a car. So at the hotel, I've got to get ready. I've got to carry around a 400-pound backpack that's got my laptop and all of the things that I need. I got to get into an Uber. I got to wait for the stupid thing to show up. I got to go to the thing, unpack, whatever. And then I'm carrying around that 400-pound backpack all day long. Here, I bring down the stuff I need for the morning. I go back up to my room. I go and grab my jacket if it got cold because it takes 2 minutes to get here get there from here. And that's really, really nice because that saved me $200 in Ubers this weekend. That saved me a ton of time, and it saved me lugging a bunch of stuff around all weekend. I like it. That's a nice touch.
Oh, and Kevin knows that saved you $200 in Ubers because he spent that extra money on the diecast he was buying.
it is easy to drop a lot of money in this place. I mean, I've talked to multiple people like, day one, yeah, I'm already past $1,000. Hey, good job. Hopefully you found some cool stuff. Like,
And it's really because so much is available, and like what Brandon just said, a lot of it is
accessibility, a lot of it is the proximity. The fact that's just the case for any event going on, sports, entertainment, you know, fan culture, pop culture in town. If you have an event that's close to a hotel, if you're ever down by the strip or down by the downtown area, that's going to be the case. It's going to be very easy to get from point A to point B, and you could pretty much cut out a lot of the BS time that will hold you back at other places and get right to the fun.
That's true. That's
You
true.
just said a key word there that I actually hadn't even thought of until you just said it, and that's accessibility. I have a member of my team who's confined to a wheelchair, and one of the biggest things he has at conventions is getting around because a lot of the places, even though they're accessible, are not really accessible. This place, you get off the elevator, you roll across the bridge, and you roll around. They've got elevators that go up and down and stuff. So I hadn't thought about it until just this moment, but this is an incredibly like wheelchair accessible facility.
Yeah, and that's a big component here, and that's something that the Ahern staff, their production team, and the security staff works really hard to make sure that that happens, and they're very, very aware of that. And that I think that's important because some venues I think have a tendency to forget. Right? It's easy to forget the small fraction of people that may need to use services or have that accessibility, as you're saying. There's a lot of things that happen. Before we get done on the show today, guys, I do want to talk about a couple of things that we have. We're unwrapping the show floor from the day, and obviously we had a ton of great things going on. But tonight we have some really unique things going on. So the first thing is that the Ladies' Night, sponsored by Neverland, is going to be happening.
Neverland.
And the Ladies' Night, the ladies are going to be wine and bedazzling diecast, which will be so much fun, and it's sponsored by Neverland. And then what they have is they have an exclusive car, and they have an exclusive Scummy Bear that the women will get at this event that are not available to you, Kevin. I know. He's like, hold on. But no.
little cloud like
Right.
anime, just
Exactly.
you know?
And then after that, we're doing a new activation, which is drinks with designers with a chocolate twist. We have a chocolate pairing menu with cocktails that's been curated by Chef Joel.
Oh, wow.
And then what we're doing in that is Jada has hidden 4 of these boxes that have 2 golden chocolates in them. And the 2 golden chocolates in there, if you bring those up, if you pull one of those out of the boxes, they're all blind boxes, you get an exclusive item from Jada, right? And Jada has an autographed Tyrese car, prototype, some really, really cool, it's stuff you can't even really buy to get, items. Then from there, because again, it never stops, we have the charity auction that benefits the Hall of Honor. You want to think that you've seen some really cool exclusive stuff? Wait till you see some of the stuff that's donated by the manufacturers, the support teams, the people that work within this to raise money for the Hall of Honor and this charity auction. 100% of the benefits do benefit the Hall of Honor. And the Hall of Honor recognizes those people that are doing positive things within their collector space. Toys, comics, cars. Doesn't matter what it is, but it represents when they're doing positive things. Eric Estrada's being inducted this year because his contributions both on the TV side and within the world of diecast has been prevalent for years, right? So this benefits that. And then at 10 o'clock, we have another showroom event. Our friends from IXO America take over, and they have a private special event. All ticketed attendees are welcome to join, and they come out to a party, and they have special things they haven't even introduced yet this weekend that they're gonna introduce at this private party tonight at 10 p.m. Right there in the showroom, you're going to find out brand new information that you actually haven't even gotten at the show yet from these guys, and they're 3 days in. So that's just programming on the back end tonight, and that doesn't even count downhill races, which is a whole nother component that happens at 11 o'clock, and the in-room trading that goes 24 hours.
Loaded. That's a slate right there.
Like we have a whole day of programming after we hang this up. And with that said, my man was over here going, "You're getting the hook." So Brandon, it's all yours.
Oh, how do I follow that? Okay, so
Bye.
I'm Brendan Allen, and
Bye, Felicia.
this is 2025 Diecast SuperCon from Las Vegas at the Ahern Hotel. These guys have names, and yeah, thank you very much.
You'll get them next time.
Real quick, before we go, give everybody where they can go and find you.
Okay, guys, Game Time Racing is my YouTube channel. But if you can't remember that, just type Diecast Convention. I'm the #1 search. You'll find it like that, too.
And there you go. Brett Lawson, where can we find you?
Brett Lawson LV on all social media platforms, and of course on all of our Go Live Vegas platforms and our family of networks, audio, video, social media, everything.
You need, and that includes on the Game Day Huddle platforms as well with Steve and Jimmy.
Which I will be guesting on live on Monday.
Absolutely, and actually I found that about
5 minutes ago, and you used to say, I got all giddy because we were talking about baseball. Inevitably, it's always going to come back to sports with us somehow. And once he showed me some of his picks that he has for the divisions, it's going to be a fun show come Monday. So I cannot wait for that.
Oh, so you guys are show prepping, I see.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
I'm
I was
always show prepping. I'm never not show prepping.
I was going to look for you, but I said, Steve's show prep, he has his formula by this point. You even told me it's all like out the door, check, 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 check. I'm gone, I'm good.
I do. My show prep is definitely compacted. I totally get that.
Not saying it's any less filled out. It's just done at a different schedule.
Absolutely,
Right.
and that does happen.
Yeah.
Steve Johnston, toy expert on history's Pawn Stars, co-owner of One of Us Comics down here in the Arts District, Las Vegas, one in Henderson. Also, co-host of the Game Day Huddle and co-host of Who the Gets Frank, both hosted on the Go Live Vegas platforms. And we also have 60 Day Comic Shop. Located on the One of Us Comics YouTube channel as well, and that's a program you can check. And then, Mr. Brendan Allen, where can we find you?
On most social platforms, I'm at Saint Amish. It's spelled out S-A-I-N-T. I just learned the other day that everybody looks for me as S-T-A-M. Anyway, it's Saint Amish. At Saint Amish on Blue Sky, Facebook, Twitters. Oh, wait, I don't think I'm on the Twitters anymore. Anyway, yes, at Saint Amish. That's me.
He can't tweet up on his Twitter because he haven't said beep. Goodbye from Las Vegas, the 2025 Diecast Super Convention. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will see you tomorrow, 5 points, first thing in the morning. Brendan Allen coming back at you.